Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talkin' Ball with Pat Leonard and First Down with Bennie Fowler. Week 6 of the NFL wraps up, and we are here to break it down with you with the Super Bowl champion, former NFL wide receiver. We're going to talk about the Aiden Hutchinson injury, what it means for the Detroit Lions, the Dallas Cowboys laying an egg, the turmoil in Philadelphia, the Giants failing to put points on the board in a Sunday night dud against the Cincinnati Bengals, and much more. Stay tuned. That interview coming right up, brought to you by MyBookie. MyBookie is celebrating its 10th year anniversary, and it is rolling out the red carpet for sports bettors. Be here for risk-free Thursdays and also use the promo code PATSPICKS at the link in all of my social media profiles, and you will get a 100% match on your first deposit of $50 or more, all the way up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. If you're already a MyBookie member, they have a new loyalty rewards program, MyBookie Plus. You can unlock exclusive giveaways, promotions, get cash back in your account. MyBookie, bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Also brought to you by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants, and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning and immediately feel the difference. I personally have felt a post-workout-like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code TalkinBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you'll get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply cost you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. And we're also brought to you here by Estate 98 Coffee, an all-natural specialty coffee with no sugar, convenient for on-the-go coffee drinkers. It takes me less than 10 seconds to make a delicious Estate 98 iced coffee and only a minute more to make a hot coffee or a latte from this all-natural concentrate. Go to estate98.com/talkingball to get a special buy one, get one free deal. And now here on the Believe Network and on the Talkin' Ball with Pat Leonard podcast, it's time for First Down with Bennie Fowler here in week 6 of the NFL season. All right, welcome to First Down with Bennie Fowler, week 6. Beans, Super Bowl champion, former NFL wide receiver, is here after another eventful NFL Sunday. What's going on?
Pat, what's the deal, man? NFL is always crazy. It's always weird coming to talk with you about what's gone on the last Sunday and Sunday night football, thinking that, we kind of have a good understanding of what's getting ready to happen, and then things go completely the opposite way or the other way. But that's why the NFL is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is a week-to-week league. Sometimes it's unfair to take one game's result and project it on what it's going to mean for a team season. Other times it's dead on. Like the team they're showing you what they are on the field, and that is who they actually are. So we're going to do a segment here, Lauds and Frauds, where we're going to either praise a team or call a team out for being total phonies and not real contenders. But I want to start, Benny, in my opinion, I think one of the bigger storylines here is Aiden Hutchinson fracturing his tibia in his left leg. That, of course, is the elite pass rusher for the Detroit Lions. 7.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 17 quarterback hits. The Lions with an impressive win, obviously, Benny. But my first question for you is, how significant is this injury for the Lions' chances to win the Super Bowl? Because they are a contender.
Yep.
And so, are they in a position where they have to go and get somebody now with Hutchinson out, or can they make up for this loss?
I don't think they can make up for this loss. I mean, this is one of the key leaders, like you said. Number one, he was leading the league in sacks. Number two, the quarterback hurries. Number three, he's a captain on that team and one of the hearts and souls of that defense. And this defense has been playing extremely well, and he's becoming a superstar in this league. So this is not something that is going to be easily replaced. This is not a next man up, hey, we're going to be fine and we're going to be able to replace him. You're not going to be able to replace him just based off of his leadership and his ability. But what the Detroit Lions have to do right now is they need to go out and find a trade. They need to find actually 2 people. I think they needed to add a pass rusher already to complement Aiden, just because, later on in the season he was going to get double teams. And can you go find another pass rusher that can beat people one-on-one? Now I think they need to go find 2 pass rushers in terms of really, solidifying this defense for the long run, because Detroit's serious, and they're playing well offensively, playing well defensively, but now you're in need of finding a couple pass rushers to help replace Aiden.
Interesting. So the names are crossing my mind. Obviously, Max Crosby with the Raiders, Myles Garrett in Cleveland. Two situations that look like they're going nowhere fast. Elite players, obviously. Garrett, though, has been banged up this year. But they come to mind. Also,
Garrett's
Hassan
on the
Reddick.
trading block.
No, he's not. I'm just saying, I'm looking around the league right now and saying, okay, which teams are 1-4 and not going anywhere, right? Do you pick
I
up
don't see Cleveland trading Myles Garrett at all. He's their best player.
I know, but their season's going in the tank. But yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
But then in a different way, okay, so we have Hassan Reddick with the Jets, not playing. He just switch agents, gets dumped by CAA. Now he's over to Drew Rosenhaus. Can you facilitate something there where he doesn't want to be in New York, doesn't want to play for the Jets, but the Lions say, come in here, become a finishing piece on a Super Bowl contender, or even in a less sexy situation, like Azeez Ojulari just had an explosive performance, finally given more of an opportunity with Kayvon Thibodeau out with the Giants. So is that a position where the Giants can maybe get something for a player and you get a bendy edge rusher in Detroit? It's just some of the names that crossed my mind. I don't know if you thought of anybody.
I think the Hassan Reddick thing sticks out just because he's not on a team right now. It doesn't seem like he would join the Jets. The Jets it's just a shit show over there. So will Hassan Reddick just, will Drew be able to facilitate that trade and get him over to Detroit? Question is, what type of shape is he in? But I think the Lions need a war daddy, as we used to call it in Denver. They need somebody who, they need a game wrecker. They need somebody who can get home. And even before this happened, I think they needed to make a trade on the pass rushing front, similar to what Detroit did, or not Detroit, what the Rams did in the year that they won the Super Bowl. You have an incredible player like Aaron Donald, and then you trade for Von Miller. That puts you over the top. So
Right, and they had
what is
Leonard
Detroit gonna do?
Floyd. They signed Leonard Floyd in free agency. Right, right.
Exactly. So you need that type of pass rusher, because what Detroit is going to come up against, and whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's a CJ Stroud, is that you're going to have to get to those quarterbacks, and you're going to have to collapse the pocket, because all three of those, they can extend the play. They have great pocket presence, so they're going to need a pass rush for sure.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I mean, there's a lot of important players on this team, but him, Penei Sewell, Jared Goff, the three guys, I mean, they're irreplaceable on that roster. And like you said, too, guys go down in the NFL and teams move on and can win games, but we're not talking about winning next Sunday. We're talking about, can you contend for a championship that you were already in the running to go get? Not to mention in the best defense in football, or the best division in football, I should say, now with the Packers, the Vikings, and even the Bears showing life. So really interesting there. Really interesting dilemma there. I will say, if Reddick ends up on the Lions, if Dan Campbell can't motivate him, no one can. That's what I definitely
He
see
should
there.
be motivated by his agency firing him. I wonder, he needs to get it into his mind, like, hey, the NFL will move on without you. And this isn't, the longer you don't play, you're just not valuable if you're not out there.
Yeah. Do you think, Benny, pivoting to Reddick for a second, do you think a player, like, obviously you want players to be able to advocate for themselves, stand their ground, but when a guy like Reddick does something that looks like he's starting to shoot himself in the foot the way Le'Veon Bell did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a player and a person who's not getting good advice? Or is he, I'm not saying you can speak exactly on Reddick, but I'm just saying, when a player does something like this and starts to seemingly shoot his own career in the foot, how do you view that player's perspective, and how do you bring a guy like that back around? Because it almost seems like if someone's that far gone from wanting to accept a contract and wanting to be a member of the team now into mid-October, it would seem hard to get their mindset all the way back into part of a 53-man locker room.
Well, I know Hassan Reddick, just from outside looking in, has to have some sense about him to hire Drew Rosenhaus and a nonsense agent. What I will say is that CAA is a very reputable agency. And I know, hey, they were giving him some good advice. Hey, it might not have been what he wanted to hear, but I know they were, hey, this is where the Giants are. I mean, not the Giants, but this is where the Jets are at. And this is what they're offering. And hey, this is how it compares to the market. Now, if Hassan Reddick's trying to reset the market, that's not going to happen, or else you would have been paid already. So the question is he listening? Is he comprehending that advice? But I don't think his advice will be any different, or Drew Rosenhaus's advice won't be any different than what he got at CAA. This is what the Jets are offering you in terms of compensation. Hey, you need to show up, or this is what it is. And like your career is going to go downhill and you are going to now be seen as a problem. And this is going to affect you long term in terms of how people want to pay you. Now they're going to watch, they're watching how you handle this. So
Yeah, no, it's
it's
a
an
good
unfortunate
point.
situation.
I think if I know Drew too, it's a good point about him hiring Rosenhaus. If I know Drew, from my vantage point, if I'm a team, but also just, reputation wise, to me, Reddick's story has to be told in some way that makes him look better than he looks now. And I think what I usually see from Drew Rosenhaus is that he's able to tell that story for his client,
Mhm.
but still make it seem like it's coming from the client, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like instead of hanging the client out to dry to talk for themselves and letting them step in it, that he understands, like, let me do the work for him here and then make sure he gets back on the field and plays and understands that. So, yeah, that's really interesting. And in a league where most guys are already on team, so you can't shake the league up too much other than maybe a deadline trade here or there. He is an interesting one who's kind of hovering on the periphery. But let's go to our lauds and frauds idea here as we go through the league. And let's stay on the Detroit Lions. 47-9 at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, over the Dallas Cowboys. Benny, I have to say I'm ashamed that I put my name on Jerry Jones's team after last week's a gritty so-called win in Pittsburgh, as I was labeling it. I want to know from your vantage point, when you come out of this game, are you more impressed with the Lions, so lauding the Lions, or disappointed in Dallas revealing themselves as frauds like the Scooby-Doo mask?
No, I would say I'm more impressed with what the Lions did. I mean, to whoop somebody's ass at their home, 47-9, speaks more to them than what Dallas being fraud. So what the Lions did, going on the road, putting a complete game together, offense, defense, special teams, the way Jared Goff is spreading the ball around, the trickery with the plays, Ben Johnson is just doing an incredible job of just the rhythm and the type of plays and the way that he is calling this game. If Detroit is smart, they offer him almost head coaching money to stay. Do not leave this organization, because he has such a great feel and relationship with Jared Goff. He understands all of the different types, body types of the tight ends, the receivers. Great to see Tim Patrick out there making plays, Khalif Raymond making plays, who was a former Giant. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams doing incredible things. And then the two-headed monster in the backfield of Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So
Yeah.
there's an incredible roster construction, but no, the Lions definitely, they're more impressive. In Dallas, I mean, they should just be ashamed of themselves. But this is what you get when you have an owner who is just not competent in terms of roster construction anymore, who just has the biggest ego and wants to always be right in terms of how he thinks about things. The offense is horrible. Mike McCarthy, no motion, just no creativity, no everything is just super static. And Aaron Rodgers isn't playing quarterback for you right now. And you don't have Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, and Jordy Nelson out there. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's an incredible receiver and one of the top 5 receivers in the league. But you have to be creative. You can't run the ball. And this is just, this is just disappointing. It's embarrassing for the Cowboys, and they might be the worst team in the division.
How about, okay, a lot to unpack there. All great points. So first of all, how humiliating is it when a team like Ben Johnson toying with them with these trick plays, the pitches and throwbacks to offensive linemen? I mean, is that an extra level of embarrassment for a team like the Cowboys when a team is doing that to you when it's already a blowout in your own building?
1,000%, especially at this level. This is not college. This is in high school. they were trying to embarrass you. And Detroit and Dan Campbell, they felt like they got one stolen from them last year in Jerry's world with the reporting call. So they wanted to try to embarrass Dallas, and they did. And I think that's super embarrassing for the team. And it's just that's not even humbling. It's just embarrassing. And now the question is, where does Dallas go? Is there going to be a lot of finger pointing in that locker room? There already was to begin with. Do they pack it in now? Do they pack it in? And, how do they actually feel about Jerry?
Interesting, especially because one thing I was thinking about with their roster right now, Benny, is so we just talked about Aiden Hutchinson. That's obviously a costly injury, but the Lions are still one of the better teams in the league without him. Not who knows if they can go all the way. But let's say Dallas, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but right now Parsons is out. Like, you take a player like Parsons out. Let's say CeeDee Lamb misses a couple weeks in the middle of the season for a hamstring or something. If they miss a player like that, like one of their top three, to me, this could be a house of cards that completely collapses. Like, if you took CeeDee Lamb off this offense for 2 to 3 weeks, because it's the NFL season that happens, that's where I think this could go completely in the tank.
Yeah.
They're not steady and balanced enough to handle that.
They stink anyway. Their offense stinks. So if CeeDee Lamb misses a couple weeks, he might want to miss a couple weeks because right now he's just out there getting cardio, and this everything is just super predictable. So he might want to miss a few weeks just with how bad they are playing and the lack of creativity and keep running the same plays, triple slant on third down. It's just ridiculous.
Oh my God. So that's fantastic. Getting cardio out there. So Detroit, you said something about Ben Johnson is interesting to me that I wanted you to break down from the NFL player point of view. You said that he understands, like with his play calling, but you said he understands the body types of all of his players on his offense. Why is that important? And where did you see that come up in this game?
Yeah, I think number one, the reason why it's important is because you want all your players to operate from a place of strength. So what do they do really well? And you see this with the intermediate routes with St. Brown and the creative ways that they're able to get him open. St. Brown is somebody who is always going in motion. He's not really getting pressed. He's off the ball, and he's able to be creative in his routes. You see Tim Patrick, who is a new acquisition that they made right after training camp, right after he got cut in Denver. He comes there. He's there on practice squad for a couple of weeks, gets activated to the active roster. And you saw last week a couple of deep in routes that Tim caught. And that's something that he did well in Denver. And then you saw a deep ball yesterday where he caught an incredible pass from Jared Goff down the sideline. Tim ran a great go route. And those are the types of plays that Tim has been making throughout his entire career. So they actually are looking at, hey, what has this guy done really well?
Got it.
Put him in that position to be successful. Then you have the trickery. Jameson Williams going to at least get 1 to 2 handoffs per game because of the dynamic speed that he has. And then you're just seeing Sam Laporta. He's a recipient of some of the trick plays and the triple reverse that they did, flea flicker. Sam Laporta's getting that, but you just see the creativity, even the offensive linemen who are catching the passes. They're working on those things constantly every single week. So I think Ben Johnson is doing an incredible job. He will be very highly touted, or not highly touted, but I would say, very highly sought after in terms of offseason and being a head coach and being a candidate for being a head coach. If I am the Ford family, if I'm Dan Campbell, if I am that GM, I am going to do everything in my power to keep him here because the continuity and the camaraderie that this offense has is incredible. And it's something you can't just replace that. You can't just put somebody else in there. It's not like, Kyle Shanahan's the head coach, but he's also calling the plays. Ben Johnson is dialing things up, and he is focused on this offense and making this offense one of the best in the league. And you heard Tom Brady say I think yesterday, he would love to play in this type of offense. All these weapons and all these opportunities and very unique things in the way plays are being dialed up, similar to Tom Brady's offenses in New England, where Josh McDaniels, he went to a couple different spots, head coaches, comes back. But the way they would call trick plays, they'd call double passes, they would call different types of plays to get their best people in position to win and be successful. And you're seeing that and how Ben Johnson's doing that.
Jared Goff on the phone to Tom Brady, like, stay away, man. This is my Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You had your chance. It's Ben and me is the tandem. You're not coming over to Detroit and unretiring here. No, you make an interesting point about that is, yeah, Ben Johnson, hot head coaching candidate. Interesting wrinkle with kind of how he handled the Washington job last year. What will that mean? But also, to your point, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes is obviously the standard right now. But look at Goff's last 2 weeks with the no incompletions 2 weeks ago, and then the stat line this week. Dan Campbell finally gives him the game ball. He forgot to last week. But to your point, I mean, that synergy is, yes, the team is winning, but the synergy of the OC and the quarterback and the result it has on the team, and even just the leadership of the team. You see around the league, the way a quarterback plays, it filters down throughout an NFL team if you're really paying attention. And so that's an excellent point about how valuable he is to them, I think. Staying on the topic of frauds for a second, you said something there that made me, made me open my eyes wide. You said the Dallas Cowboys might be the worst team in the division in the NFC East. So I put it to you this way: who is a bigger fraud right now, the Cowboys after this joke of a performance, or the Eagles, who squeak by a terrible Browns team led by Deshaun Watson at home, and their head coach, Nick Sirianni, is yelling at fans in their home stadium after the game, and really looking like, even coming off a bye week, Benny, that he doesn't have a lot of poise for this situation. Which one of these teams is a bigger fraud, Cowboys or Eagles?
Cowboys are definitely the biggest frauds. They, people think that, and their owner and GM thinks that they have a Super Bowl winning team. So they're definitely the biggest frauds. Sirianni, though, like, get a hold of yourself. Like, be an adult. Like, what are you doing? You're the head coach of an NFL franchise. You just won a game. And that the first thing you want to do is go over and talk to the fans. Like, first of all, the Philly fans will let you have it. You're not ready for that battle. And then, I mean, number two, like grow up. You're one of the faces of this franchise. What are you doing? Like, act like you've been there before. You got the win. You got out of there. But, it's just, that's embarrassing to me if I was a part of the Philly franchise. Like, my coach doesn't have any emotional intelligence. Like, he lacks emotional intelligence by far.
That's real. Yeah, no, absolutely. And my editor at the Daily News, Kyle Wagner, made an interesting point contextualizing it for the Eagles franchise and maybe how Jeffrey Lurie would look at it. That Andy Reid forever was here, and those Eagles teams were excellent year in and year out for a long time. And what did he always do, Benny? Whenever they came out of a bye week, you gave him 2 weeks, they would slaughter teams.
Yeah.
He still does it with the Chiefs, right? And if you think about it, like, in that building, the institutional knowledge of Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles, they have to be, if they're looking at this from the standpoint of their experience with different coaches, what a dichotomy and a contrast it is that coming off of a week away, probably some time with the family and extra time to prepare, you're unhinged and you nearly lose to one of the worst teams and quarterbacks in football, rather than being the team that looked like fresh, ready to go, hit, second wind. That's kind of an interesting one to think about too, as far as what the Eagles franchise has been, what they know they want to be, and what they see they are now. It also speaks to me, Benny. I don't know if players think of it this way, but like, the Jets could have easily fired Robert Saleh in the offseason. They bring him into the season, then they fire him 5 weeks in. The Eagles spent a full week deliberating, essentially, of whether Nick Sirianni was still going to be the head coach. And then they were like, what? Nothing to see here. Nothing happened. No, we didn't do that. But obviously, all the issues that you were facing with Sirianni last year, they are continuing. Like, this looks like the same team as last year. Why don't these teams pull the plug when they see it? Like, do players sit in the locker room and say, like, this is all the same stuff? Like, why did we run this back?
I think from a player's perspective, you don't want a coach to get fired because part of that is on you. So as a player, you don't want to see your coach get fired. And then it's like a substitute teacher coming in for the rest of the year. You don't necessarily know what to expect. You had all these expectations And I think the Eagles right now, if I think their record's 4-2. So you don't just want to
Three and
throw
two.
things
Yeah.
out. But, maybe Sirianni's going through a midlife crisis. I saw the haircut before the game and I was like, okay, like this guy he's trying to figure out who he is. It's like, cutting the hair, that week away with the family, he might have had too much time on his hands. He's like, I'm just going to cut my hair. Like I need a fresh start. He's trying to get his mind wrapped around what's next, or am I going to be here? So he's just as nervous as the players are.
Yeah, no, well said, and it has to filter down. I remember, I will always remember this, but it definitely has been consistent throughout my time covering pro sports. Like when Ben McAdoo came back that second year, and he came back instead of with his normal floppy, Midwestern PA haircut, he had it cut down, faded, gelled back with the sunglasses. You can't do I got to change my appearance and image to fix this thing. And usually it's a sign of the fact that the person is grasping for answers.
Yeah, they don't
From
know where
what
to
I
get them from.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't.
right, like, from what I've seen, from McAdoo, um, even right now, I think Daboll's trying it, is that going to work in New York? But I agree, Sirianni, I mean, Joe Burrow even,
Yeah.
when I
I
saw
had
him
it I
dive.
had it in my career, I think I had it, maybe my 3rd or 4th year in Denver, just wasn't playing well, things were up and down. I had the long faux hawk and I was like, I gotta go back to the clean cut. I gotta change this. It didn't help at all because, the answers are right there in front of you. You need to just be honest with yourself. Question is Nick Sirianni being honest with himself?
Did the vibes improve with going back to the clean cut for you?
No, I grew it back out. It's not a hair problem. It's the way you're performing problem. Step up and make plays, and that's what I had to do.
Well, speaking of trying to step up and make plays, the Giants are scrambling for answers. We're staying in the NFC East here. Um, Benny, a lot of teams lost on Sunday, okay?
Mhm.
And a lot of teams were a mess while losing. The Giants' issue, though, and this was, when I was talking to Daniel after the game, talking to Dable, talking to some of these players, the difference with the Giants is, they're not scoring 17, 16, 20, 23, 25 points in a loss like even the Patriots and the Saints did with Drake May and Spencer Rattler, rookie quarterbacks. They're scoring 7 points
Mhm.
against the Bengals team that was allowing 29 a game on defense coming in. And frankly, Benny, they didn't just look frustrated in the Giants locker room. They looked like they were out of answers. Like they don't know where to look for the answers. What did you see in that dud of a performance, and what does it tell you about where the Giants are?
Well, from the Sunday night performance, number one, I think the Giants defense played extremely well. I think Dexter Lawrence is a monster, one of the best defensive players in the league. And then Brian Burns, this might I got a really good chance to see him, and he made an extreme amount of plays. And I mean, just making plays in the run game, making plays, getting after the quarterback. So I saw the defense play really well. And I mean, for the most part, they kept that Bengals offense, which is very explosive, in check. The Bengals scored 17 points, the Joe Burrow run, that's tough. But other than that, touchdown at the end where they're in 4 minutes and Giants are really going for it. They really held that Bengals explosive offense to 10 points. So the Giants defense played really well. From Daniel's perspective and the offense's perspective, where is the creativity from Dayball? Where is the creativity? I saw Daniel use his legs a little bit. Him and Slade's report continues to just be super impressive. I mean, they just make plays, but the 4th and 3 call, I want to see something better than just the drag route to Slay. Like, where is the creativity? Can we get a hitch on the opposite side? Jalen Hyatt's got to come up and make some plays, though. With the incredible speed that he has and the opportunities that he was begging for, well, he had some opportunities to go out there and make some plays, and he didn't make those plays. Running game was decent. Offensive line was decent. So they got to find a way to score some points. But you missed 2 field goals. That's tough. And, you had a chance to really tie up the game and make and see where it goes from there. And then you miss a couple of field goals. So I won't just blame it on the offense, all the way, but definitely got to score more than 7 points. And you got to score points in the first half. I mean, what are we doing? Where is the creativity? How are we going to get people involved? and
Yeah.
everything just seems very vanilla. There's where's the creativity?
Yeah. Turnover in the red zone for Daniel there, but also a bad play call. It was a throwback to his left to Theo Johnson, the rookie tight end, who's not a downfield guy.
Mhm.
Ill-advised. Daboll actually said he wanted the play call back, which is interesting. I also thought I didn't understand this, Benny. They went into Seattle, and Daniel even said, I asked him after the Seahawks game where he had that impressive performance. They win 29-20. And I said, Daniel, do you get more into a game when you run? And he said, yes. Like he said that running and you don't want to take hits, but he doesn't, he likes the contact, he likes getting into the flow, getting his legs moving, and it puts the defense off balance. They didn't get him running until the second quarter. I thought that was too late. I thought it was all drop back pass and vanilla runs, and it didn't serve them well. You're right. I mean, he and Slayton are, as connected and the chemistry is there, but without neighbors on the field, there's not much to watch as far as explosive over the top big plays. I am encouraged by the fact that Tyron Tracy Jr., the rookie running back, has two back-to-back kind of productive games here. So you think about, you have Neighbors, you have Tracy. These are both rookie players. Hopefully you're setting a little bit of a foundation. But the feeling I got coming out of there talking to them was they really thought they found something in Seattle, and they didn't take Cincinnati for granted, but they definitely knew, okay, the way to make progress here is to do it again, and we have the chance to do that. It's an advantageous opportunity and environment and opponent to do that. And I think they were a little bit, I don't know if stun's the word, but I think they were a little bit here we go again-ish,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
kind of looking
disappointing. I mean, to
forward.
see Cincinnati give up 41 points the week before to Baltimore, who has a dynamic running quarterback. Why would you not take some of the plays? I'm not saying Daniel Jones is Lamar Jackson, but DJ can run, and we've seen that. And why would you not take some of those plays and some of those QB runs and just keep the drives alive? Keep the sticks moving. I think that's what one of some of these top quarterbacks are doing, is that, hey, if I'm dropping back or I don't like what I see, I'm going to run and get the first down, and then now we have a new set of downs. And that's the way I think about some of the quarterback runs. And I think that's what Daboll did with Josh Allen in Buffalo, and that's what he did early on with DJ in New York. Just keep the drive alive. Call a quarterback run, get 6 yards, and then you have your whole playbook at your disposal. So, I want to see Daboll bring back the creativity and and work with the whole entire roster.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, as Saquon once called him, is Vanilla Vic. That was the nickname that Saquon gave him. So let's be fair. Maybe he's not Lamar, but he is Vanilla Vic. Remember, everybody, just real quick, we are sponsored here by MyBookie. MyBookie is celebrating its 10th year anniversary. It's rolling out the red carpet for bettors. Use the promo code PATSPICKS on the link in all of my social media profiles, and you will get a 100% match on your first deposit of $50 or more, up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. I am 9-3 against the spread this week.
Nice.
With the Jets and Bills to go on Monday night. You have to say it when you are, Benny, because usually it doesn't go that way, right? We also hit on the Tyrone Tracy receiving yards ladder, went over his line and then over 26, over 36, 50 some yards receiving, I believe. So hopefully you played that, made some money there. MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Also, MyBookie Plus, the rewards program, if you're already a member. Also brought to you by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. Chaga has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. I put it in my coffee every morning and feel a post-workout-like energy boost. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code TalkingBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply costs you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. Also, Estate 98 coffee, all natural specialty coffee with no sugar, convenient for on-the-go coffee drinkers. Estate98.com/talkingball. That's where you go to get a special buy one, get one free deal. All right, Benny, off of the frauds and back onto the Lauds, the Green Bay Packers, 34-14 over the Arizona Cardinals. Jordan Love, 258, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and completes a pass to 10 different receivers. Benny, did the Packers, for you, do what they did for me and kind of reaffirm themselves as a team to be reckoned with deep into January this year?
I still can't I can't put my finger on the Green Bay Packers, but yes, they showed that what their ceiling is in terms of Jordan Love, the throws that he can make, Matt LaFleur just dialing plays up, and then all the different receivers that they have. Their young receiver core is incredible. I mean, Jaden Reed, shout out Michigan State, Dotson, and then Watson, and then you have the tight end, and then you have Josh Jacobs. I mean, they just have an incredibly well balanced offensive scheme. And I mean, when you think about all these offenses in the NFC, it was the NFC North. When you think about all the offenses in the NFC North, they are all super balanced, and they all have incredible skill players. So Green Bay, I think, if they get a rhythm, they're a hard team to deal with. I'd be curious to see how they deal with adversity early on in games. I think they would have a hard time coming back in games. But
you mean in obvious passing situations where the run is taken away on offense?
Yeah, exactly. But if they have a situation where they hit first, or they're striking first and score for score, it's going to be hard to beat them, because Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, they can go anywhere with the ball. Everybody can catch the ball. Everybody's a catch and run, and they're just super, super dynamic.
Why do you think they do such a good job with drafting and identifying talent at receiver, Benny? Like, what do you see any consistent elements and skill sets in the Packers receivers over the years, just as an organization, that like maybe talents they prioritize, or like a body type that they go after? But because they really do seem to, without investing first round picks consistently in the position, they really do seem to hit on these guys.
I would say from my vantage point, they draft route runners. And I know that's, kind of weird to say, because all receivers should be route runners. But when I think about the level of detail and the precision of these guys, especially the 3 that they have right now that are getting a tremendous amount of time, these are great route runners, and they're all hands catchers. These kids can make plays. They can make plays downfield. When you think about Devontae Adams, he was a playmaker downfield. And these 3, Dotson, Reed, Watson, they can make plays downfield, and just incredible intermediary route runners, short route runners, long route runners. So I would say Green Bay does a really good job. And then they find receivers that can complement one another. Think about a Randall Cobb complementing a Jordy Nelson or a Donald Driver or a Greg Jennings. You think about Devontae and Randall complementing one another, along with a Jordy Nelson, and then these 3, they can complement one another.
Right. Reed's skill set different from Watson, Dobbs, these guys. Yeah, no, for sure. Reed's a special player, man. He's
doing really well. I mean, he's taking the lead by storm. I don't know, he's got 7 touchdowns. I don't know how many he has.
Wow. Wan'Dale, he's kind of like Wan'Dale Robinson is finally making plays for the Giants. He's been healthy this season. Daniel Jones used him as a security blanket, but all respect to Wan'Dale, and he does have some quickness and breaks tackles, but Reed is kind of what I think the Giants wanted Robinson to be, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like he looks like a gadget player at times, but he's not just that.
Yeah,
right?
He's he can go up and get the jump ball. He can return the punts. He can run the ball. So, Jaden Reed is a jack of all trades.
Yeah, for sure. Wanted to go into, we haven't really done like a power rankings thing yet, but I feel like we're deep enough into the season, and this can allow us to go in a bunch of different directions. But at the top of the league right now, we have the Chiefs at 5-0, the Minnesota Vikings at 5-0. My Houston Texans improved to 5-1. Detroit 4-1, and then your Baltimore Ravens with 4 wins in a row now after beating the Washington Commanders in a pretty good game there between 2 of the better offenses in the NFL. I was wondering, of that group I gave you, Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, Minnesota, Detroit, who right at this moment, as week 6 is coming to a close, stands out to you at the top of the power rankings for you? And then who of those are you kind of, kind of moving your eyebrow out a little bit, saying like, I still need to see more here?
Yeah, I'd say Baltimore would be at number one. I would put Minnesota at number two,
Mm.
Kansas City at three, Lions at four, Houston at five. I'm
You're
always
trolling
gonna
me. You're trolling me.
I'll put Houston at five,
Yeah.
but my eye is still up and a little worried about Kansas City, even though they have Patrick Mahomes and it's hard to go against them. The receivers that they've lost and the inconsistency in Patrick Mahomes' play raises some eyebrows in the turning over of the ball. Now they know how to win close games, so they know how to win.
Mm.
But where is the 400, 300-yard games from Patrick Mahomes, the 3 touchdown games, the 3 touchdown, no interception games? We need to see that type of play out of Patrick Mahomes in terms of, him going into year 7 or year 8 or whatever it may be for him. Where is that type of play for him? It was good to see Travis Kelce get going the other week, but where is that? Their defense is still incredible. So that's where it would be for me. Houston, I think, is doing an incredible job. And CJ Stroud continues to impress me in terms of pocket presence, the way he throws the ball, delivery, D'Amico Ryans and what they're doing, complementary football. But they're just not battle tested enough to where I would believe in them in a single elimination format. Like if they,
Interesting.
if they're playing a Buffalo, if they're playing a Baltimore or a Kansas City, I'm just going to have to go with those other teams because those other teams are a little bit more battle tested in terms of playoff experience. So, but Joe Mixon doing really well, and for them to go out there and get that win on the road, no Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud still, smiling and dialing. It's good to see.
No doubt, no doubt. Um, yeah, you mentioned Mahomes and Reed, and remember a couple years ago when the league just started playing like cloud and too deep on Mahomes and forcing them to kind of go the long way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I still look at, I still think that's something he struggles with. And I think there are a handful of explosive quarterbacks that struggle with that. Like I was watching Burrow live last night with the Cincinnati Bengals, and Zach Taylor, way too cute as a play caller. I mean, way too cute. But also, Burrow refused to throw underneath on a lot of these plays, Benny.
Yeah.
Like, and now, your eyes down the field, that's great. I mean, obviously, that's a lot of what these quarterbacks that everyone gets frustrated with in these different markets. That's what they're not doing, is keeping their eyes down the field, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
hard position. But what I saw there is it's really interesting. I guess it's human nature for these guys who are that explosive of players and passers, but it was clearly extremely difficult for Burrow last night against the Giants to just dump it off for 4 yards, let the running back or the tight end get 3 more for 7, because he wanted to make that 25, 30, 35-yard pass. I mean, if you went into one of these meeting rooms with these quarterbacks and you said, "Here's how they're playing us, here's how we win and beat it," I would think they would just adjust. I'm not exactly sure why it's so difficult for them to, though.
Trust and trust in the receivers. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are the guys who are running, the 25, 30-yard routes down the field. So there's
Mm.
more trust and let me hold on to the ball. Let me see if this comes open. And I would say when it comes to Patrick, there are a lot of people open downfield. They're just not Tyreek Hill anymore. And that's totally different. It's not Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So
Huh.
does he really trust those guys? But yeah, there's a lot of people open downfield. But, I've played with some really good quarterbacks and some Hall of Fame quarterbacks. If they don't trust you, it doesn't matter if it's open. They're not throwing you the ball because they don't trust that you're going to make the play. So I think it's a trust element on Burrow and Mahomes in terms of making those throws or the right throws. And, these guys want to go for it. These guys are young and they don't want to just check the ball down. But I think, they'll learn that over time. And it really just depends on the offense and who the coordinator is. But, Joe Burrow, he lost Brian Callahan. And people can think that's easy. And, but Brian Callahan being with Joe Burrow his whole career so far and not being there, you see a different type of play.
But Benny, can you earn trust in practice, or does it have to come in a game? So, like, if you're the Pro Bowl quarterback And
Starts in practice, but then they definitely want to see it in the game.
So at a certain point, they got to give you a chance, but that almost sounds like there's a lot of pressure on. Let's say you're the second-year wide receiver and I'm the Pro Bowl quarterback. When I eventually give you that one chance in the game, it's like that first one, you kind of have to make it.
Right? 1,000%. Yeah, if you don't catch it, that first one, it's going to be tough. And I think that's what you're seeing with at least Patrick. You're seeing some tough moments in situations where, hey, a Sky Moore has had plenty of chances. He's like, I'm not going to keep throwing this ball. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't care if you're open. So you have tough situations like that where it is built off of trust. And these tips and overthrows, people catch these passes, or these, they drop these passes and then it gets intercepted. Then that looks bad on Patrick, which has happened, quite a few times this year and even last year.
Interesting. By the way, just a random note, T. Higgins' hands, he catches everything with his hands.
Yeah, he's got mittens.
Yeah, you've got me looking at that now a lot, guys body catching versus hands. And Higgins it was like he was picking apples last night.
Yeah, he's a monster.
It was really something else. One other thing I had for you was wondering what you thought Washington looked like against Baltimore. That was kind of a really good test for an up and coming hot team. And then anything else that stood out to you league wide if we didn't cover it yet?
Yeah, good test for Washington, but then Baltimore shows why they're Baltimore, and they played really well, and Washington had to go on the road and try to make some plays. But I'm still extremely impressed with Jaden Daniels. He didn't turn the ball over and completed some passes, and it was a close game. So, but it's hard to go out there and beat Lamar. I don't know what Lamar's record is against rookie quarterbacks. I don't even think he's lost a game against a rookie quarterback.
Sounds right.
So they played extremely well. And the Ravens, Todd Monken is doing really well in terms of the play calling. And we got to give him his credit. First couple of weeks, it was super predictable. And now he's definitely doing a lot better in terms of the play calling. And then Zay Flowers making incredible plays. And then Lamar doing what Lamar does, still, MVP candidate. So, but I was very impressed, still continue to be impressed with Jaden Daniels. And then league-wide, Caleb Williams, very impressive. And as he continues to get better and play better week after week, finding different ways. But I think they are finding a rhythm in terms of their play calling and everything looking the same and helping Caleb make these reads. And he's not trying to play that Superman ball anymore. It's like, be super creative, get in and out of the pocket, and avoid the rush. But you don't have to throw it 80 yards downfield. Just throw it to the tight end and let him do the rest, or the running back and let him do the rest. Like, you don't have to throw it 60 yards downfield. So you're starting to see these young rookie quarterbacks make some plays, and they're learning the game. Bo Nix struggled yesterday. I went to the game, and it was ugly. It was ugly.
Chargers are tough with Harbaugh, huh?
Oh, yeah. They're tough. They know how to play. They did a lot on third down. Patrick Surtain went down, and he showed that he's the best player by far on the Denver team because, when your starting cornerback goes down, now the entire field opens up for the other team's offense, and Jim Harbaugh attacked all of our weaknesses.
Interesting. Bo looks like it's hard for him, or
and the receivers got to step up and make some plays and make it easier for Bo in terms of making some completions, but. No, he definitely took a step back in terms of, his progression that he had been making. But, he's still able to keep some plays alive with his legs, but there's still a lot that he has to learn and, things that he has to trust as well.
There was an interesting theme this week with Rattler getting on the field in New Orleans, Drake May getting on the field. All these rookies are now playing, except Michael Penix Jr. He's the guy I keep telling people sooner or later. I don't know how it happens. Top 10 pick, quarterback pick. He's going to get on the field, but obviously
not in 2024.
Right. Now they're 4-2. They're rolling a little bit. So I guess not at the moment. Benny, we didn't have any breaking news this week during the podcast.
I know.
We had Saleh getting fired last
week. I was
week.
waiting for Mike McCarthy to get fired during our pod.
I thought it was going to be Doug Peterson or Nick Sirianni. But hey, we didn't need breaking news to spice it up here in week 6. Great talk about everything that happened around the NFL. As you said, Some things feel predictable. Some things couldn't feel more unpredictable, but we're here to break it all down every week. Benny, thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely, Pat. Appreciate you, man.
That was First Down with Bennie Fowler here on Talking Ball with Pat Leonard, Week 6 edition. Thanks so much for being here. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe on the Believe Network, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, and on the PL on NFL YouTube channel. We are brought to you here by MyBookie, celebrating its 10th year anniversary. Use the promo code PATSPICKS at the link in all of my social media profiles, and you will get a 100% match on your first deposit of $50 or more, up to $1,000, plus a $10 casino chip. We made you money this week if you used Pat's Pick, so stay with us. Look for all the reels and the posts throughout every NFL week to make some money and bet on these games, props, and everything else I have in store for you. If you're already on MyBookie, go to MyBookie Plus as the rewards program, the loyalty rewards program. Sign up. You'll get exclusive giveaways, promotions, cash back in your account. MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Also brought to you by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning and immediately feel the difference. I personally have felt a post-workout-like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code TalkingBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you'll get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply costs you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. And brought to you by Estate 98 Coffee, an all-natural specialty coffee with no sugar, convenient for on-the-go coffee drinkers. It takes me less than 10 seconds to make a delicious Estate 98 iced coffee and only a minute more to make a hot coffee or latte from this all-natural concentrate. Go to estate98.com/talkingball to get a special buy one, get one free deal now.